Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back, everybody. When you think about it, we all have goals. Some of them are personal. Some of them are lofty. Some of them are long-term. Some of them could be, what I'm going to do in the next half hour. I have a goal. I need to get that done. How do you follow through and achieve those goals? We're going to talk about that today. She helps people on the coaching level with this all the time, especially leaders. And it's got to get done. You have goals, you have numbers you want to hit, all in her wheelhouse. Love talking with her. Always get insight in many different ways. Denise Krumlian is back with us. How are you doing today?
Hello, Steve. Great to see you.
You too. Yeah, it's good to have you back here. And this, when you think about it, we have many goals. A lot of times you'll say the word goals and the image comes up of something big, got to move this company forward, or my goal is to get a new house or whatever it is. But it's also the little ones can be just as important as the big ones, right?
Absolutely. Sometimes those little goals are really what gives you the momentum and propel you forward even more than the bigger ones. So
Sure.
That's one of the definite things that we talk about is chunking out your goals too, to make them bite-sized so that you can really achieve them and keep moving forward, see the progress.
Now, you've mentioned in the past I think it's called the 3 pillars of commitment.
3 pillars of my culture of Ann framework, and commitment is the 3rd pillar. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
And the goals are all embedded in there.
I want to share that. I think I shared with you. I'm in a men's group. We're all about commitments. So, and every week we make commitments. We post them in the group, and then you're paired off with one man each week, and you're familiar with him, not a stranger. And we talk about our commitments every single day. So, how you doing with that? My commitment this week is work out 4 times, at least an hour at a clip. That's one of them. And I'll say, hey, did you work out today? Yes or no. And you have a week to do it. The pillars, before we go deeper into goals, what are the pillars?
So culture of Ann framework are 3 main pillars. So we've talked about connection, we've talked about compassion, and this 3rd pillar is commitment. And so that commitment really is about having your team understand their purpose, which comes from that connection, understand that you're there to support them as a leader. So it's a trust that's built through the compassion. And then pulling those together, they're hopefully more motivated, they're more engaged, which we call vitality. And the looking at what a high performing team is, that's a combination of their vitality, which is their engagement, their motivation, their understanding of their value and purpose, along with the productivity, so the results that they're getting. And so that's put those 2 together, and that's how you get the highest performing team. And so that's what you're striving for. And as a leader, your job is to be really clear about what's important, why it's important, and the high level how. So your mission, your vision, and your strategy.
How do you, and thank you for that. And if you wanted to know, I'm writing it down.
I love it.
Because I am going to share it. We're sharing here, but I'm going to share it in my circles too. How do you stay on track to achieve the goal?
The first thing is getting the alignment in what you're doing. So, and then why is it important? And so really understanding that mission, which is your current state. What do we need to do now? And why is it important? And the vision is the bigger picture why. So what is the purpose of us doing this at all, right? So what's the objective of the organization? So that's the first thing, is making sure your team, and this is again at the global level of your company, it can be the subcultures of each department. It's also individually, right? What are you trying to do? What's your mission in life? What's your vision of where you want to go? And then how are you going to get there is the strategy. So it's not the detailed tasks, it's the high level how of like maybe there's a few big rocks that you want to accomplish. We call them big rocks a lot in the world that I'm in. And,
did you say big rocks?
Big rocks, yeah.
Interesting. Like it's almost like a mountain, that is made of rock. I always I used to call them mountains. Now they're speed bumps because I try to minimize them because they're easier to go over.
Yeah. So the speed bumps are things that you would you would, those kind of might be the challenges that you might face along the way. So it's understanding what those could be too proactively so that you can mitigate the risks with them.
Wow. So going a little deep here,
Yeah.
goals.
hmm
There are some that believe in manifestation, which to me, there's a goal. I want this. I want to achieve this, whatever it is. And some say if you're going to do that, of course, you got to believe it can happen. But then we always worry about the how. That's the what. The what is there. That's the goal. How am I going to do that? And some say, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the how. Just focus on this. It's almost like you work your way back from that. I'm going to get it. It's going to happen, whatever the goal is, and then it'll all come into place. On the other side over here, you hear people say, well, you have to have realistic goals. Let's say somebody wants to lose weight. Well, listen, you're not going to be able to lose 50 pounds in a week. Not going to be realistic about it. So I'm mentioning both. How do you look at the two of those?
Love it. Both are so important. You said one of the critical words, belief. And so you can be committed all day long. It can be a 10 and you're 11 on your commitment at a 0 to 10. But if you don't believe that you can do it, what are you telling yourself every day? And so
You're gonna
that's
fail.
yeah, yeah, it's going to be really hard to get there. And so it's really about first, that's the coaching piece of it, right? Helping somebody to really understand what do they need to succeed internally. And we've already talked a little bit about that from a resilience routine and the things that can help you with those to keep going. And it's just believing in it. And that's not always easy for everybody. So
Nope.
that's the first part. The second part, absolutely right, is chunking out your goals. So I have a goal setting workshop that I do. I call it the life pie method. And it's all the pieces of your pie. Right? So whether it's career, your health, nutrition, relationships, all of those are your pieces of your pie. What's most important to you and what's your level of satisfaction? So understanding and getting clarity on what matters most to you first, and then you can figure out what is that specific measurable goal that you want so that you can make progress towards it and then chunk it out. So it goes hand in hand.
Hmm. I'm actually dealing with this in some regards right now. So I partnered with somebody I'm connected to for many, many years, and we both align. And I know it's going to be successful, and that's over here. And that's sort of this main goal over here, and I know it would be hugely impactful for many people around the world. And I know I could kick butt with it and
Mhm.
execute it. Honestly, I don't even know how to get there.
Okay.
And that's
hmm
what I look at. And it's like, this is floating out here. It's sort of connected to this thing that I'm working on. And this has been a proven thing, but we're going to do it
hmm
with this person. But I could certainly do it with this big goal over here. But how do you, I believe in it, yes. But how do you get there? How do you forget about all this stuff to get there?
hmm Absolutely. So once you have that belief and you're really clear on that vision of success of what you want and why you want it, then you can say, what's one thing that I can do or be? Because sometimes it depends on the goal, right? Sometimes it's how you show up is the most important thing. So what can I do right now? One little thing to make progress towards that goal. That is one way to, if especially when people are feeling a lot of overwhelm towards something or like I'm really have no clue. You just ask, okay, what's one thing? Another way you can look at it if you aren't completely overwhelmed and you want to brainstorm, sometimes you can backtrack. So if you know that you have this goal, this big goal that you were talking about, maybe you want to have that done, say by June of 2025. You can
Hmm.
backtrack, think about the milestones to get there. So, what are those big rocks that will help you get there? And then you can chunk that out, each big rock, and help yourself to create the small tasks.
Thank you for that, because this thing over here
Yeah.
is, I've done nothing to conceive it.
Mm.
So put a date on it. June of 25. That's got to happen. I haven't done any of that. So I need to put those pieces, forget about the stuff getting to it. But I can tell you this, and then we'll move on. And
Yeah.
maybe this will be impactful for others. This thing over here was done by somebody I know years ago, and it was way ahead of its time. And somebody said to me the other day that was sort of connected to what that person did. You know why it didn't work? Because the person that did it was self-serving and greedy. And
Mm.
I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it to help other people, and I genuinely mean that. And I just it'd be fun, and I would enjoy it. And yes, maybe monetize it for sure. But the people need this. People need this. When it was done back in the day, it was again ahead of its time, but there was different principles involved in that. And I didn't realize that person said, because this should have succeeded back in the day. The reason being probably has a lot to
Mhm.
do with the success.
The why is the most
The
important thing.
why. Thank you.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's your North Star. It's really the thing that helps to keep you focused. Because even the what can modify a little bit, like what you do, because sometimes as you're going through something, you
Sure.
might, oh, I want to change courses a tiny bit. It still has the end, but your why typically doesn't change.
Yes. And I've heard that from many before where they had an idea and in the end, it wasn't the idea, but it was something else. And it's almost as if the universe said, with your why, no, 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 no. This is going to be the way it should be and will be even better. So they wound up doing something totally different, but it was all good.
A lot of times people come to me in coaching and they say, I want to have a plan. And I've done this myself with my coach too. I want to have a plan for how I can blah, blah, blah. Right. And so what ends up happening is we ended up talking about getting clear on what it is they really want and why, because they were so stuck on how they were going to do it
Yeah.
without having that it's really, it might sound a little woo, but it is that manifestation of like when you're so laser beam focused on what you want and you have your why and you have faith that you're going to figure out the how,
Yes.
it will start to unfold.
Yep. You said it easier than I did. Exactly right. How do you stay dedicated and not lose faith in reaching whatever the goal it is?
It can be challenging. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll take myself, for example, I've had the same goal for 2.5 years, and the results have not looked like what I thought they would. And one of the key things in order for me to keep going with it is to reflect on what have I done? What has been accomplished? What has changed? Asking those questions to myself, I've been able to see all the value of the effort that I put in. It just doesn't look like what I thought it would, but it's actually even, to your point earlier, it's even better. And so it's about then reflecting on, well, what next then? Like, so sometimes we have these huge lofty goals that are multi-year. How do you break them down? And then the other piece is, how do you stay motivated on it?
Mm.
So it's taking it, what's it going to do? And I had a coach recently say this. So, instead of just saying, I gotta go, lift weights, she says, get my sexy back. And I love that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just such a great framing of it. It's like getting something, like it just shifts the whole vibe of it.
Well, 100%, because now it's tangible. You have a vision of what your sexy is, and I'm doing the same exact thing, man. I was sexy 2 years ago. I was in the best shape ever, or at least in decades. And I re-engaged the same trainer I had back then, who's also a friend,
Mhm.
about a month ago. And I'm working on that. But it's a great point you bring up, because when you say, I gotta lift weights, well, that doesn't sound like fun. It sounds like work. But when you reframe it to what the end result will be, and maybe this just popped in my head, the feeling. So you could say, I want to lose 25 pounds. All right, that's better than saying I'm going to lift weights, and that's all good. But when you say I want to get my sexy back, what does that do? Now you're talking about a feeling, and I believe the feeling will motivate you even more.
And also, really, I'm glad you said that because the embodying how you feel after you take that step is a really important piece to keep your motivation going. So, staying on the exercise track for a minute is because it's a very tangible one for a lot of people.
Sure.
How do you feel when you're done lifting weights?
Good, especially if I'm in pain. The good sore pain, like I
Yes.
did a couple of days ago, and even just a cough right now, I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God. But that's a good pain because there was results, but I feel good about when I feel pain. I know it sounds crazy, but I feel good that I made progress.
Exactly. It's the tangible progress because you're like, oh, I feel that muscle now.
Yeah.
And you can feel more confident. You can feel more energized. That's what keeps me going every morning when I'm working out is thinking about how I'm going to feel afterwards. I'm more grounded. I feel more energized. I'm lighter, like in terms of my energy, because I've done that thing for myself first thing. So that's how I stop negotiating with myself and I keep going. And the same thing can happen for other goals that aren't, necessarily physically related.
What about being realistic about how you're going to achieve it? Let's go back to working out. If you go to the gym, I got 30 minutes, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to do it. You're probably not going to get what you want out of it. And I've seen this before. I try to set an hour, maybe it's like 50 minutes, but there have been times where I got a text and my schedule changed. So now I have an extra half hour. So now it could be maybe almost 90 minutes. I'm not spending the whole time there, but it's like, whoa, all right, this feels even better. So the realistic time frame for the goals and all of that, how do we establish that so that it works?
Mhm. Just going with that example, what's your non-negotiable? What must you do every week? So you said work out 4 times a week on average 60 minutes, I think is what you said,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If that's your non-negotiable, then why? Why is that important to you? What makes that the goal?
This is why you're good at what you do because I never thought of that. I just set that, but now that you're saying it, I'm thinking about it, processing it. I set it at 60 minutes because I don't want to cheat myself, and a lot of times I'll just rush and do 45 minutes, so or even less. But if I set it, at least I'm going to get closer to that, and I know it's going to be more impactful.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so that you want it to be more impactful, you want to make the most of that time. Say you do only have 30 minutes for one day, though. It doesn't mean you don't do it. It just means you have to maximize that time. And so
100%.
just thinking about what can I do today? And that's the key word is can. So a lot of times our brains go into, oh, what we can't do, or the struggle or the challenge or the speed bump. Really what it's about is what can I do today?
Hmm. And 2 days ago, when I did that workout that I'm sore from today, that was only like 35 minutes. And I even said to my friend, the trainer, that, wow, she goes, um, work smarter, not harder.
And so, well, how does that change your belief around a 30-minute workout not being necessarily enough?
True, done right. And, bam, 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 stay off your phone. Uh, but I get lost in my phone because I love music. So I try to do playlists. I'm digressing, but I try to do playlists, but I'm like a squirrel. Like songs pop in my head because I've been playing music on the radio forever. It's like, oh yeah, I gotta play that. I gotta play that. It's almost like I'm my own DJ. I gotta stop doing that. I gotta
Yeah.
just stick to the plan, stick to the playlist. Maybe plan it out the day before. Um,
Ooh, you said a really important thing there, planning it out the
yeah,
day before. When you plan out your week, this goes into the more consultative side of what I do, having a project management background. I was a project manager for over
mm,
20 years. I
mm.
can help people with their action plans. And then one of the things I do, in fact, I love it so much. I have my day planner right here. I'm still old school with my day, but every week I look at what must I do and what is the progress that I want to make with those. I have 3 goals. And so what's the progress I want to make with these 3 goals? So you set your intention when you plan ahead and then you actually schedule it out.
I need to get much, much more efficient at that. So, want to jump down the hole here of the project planning and management. When you write it down and I do the same exact thing. I'll put it online, but I just it's so much, and we've talked about that before. Why writing it is so much better. Are you also writing down what you're expecting to get out of it? Do you go into that kind of detail, or do you just write down, we'll go back to working out just because we started there. Do you just write down, go to gym, and that's it? Or do you go to gym, work on abs, work on biceps, blah, 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 blah. Do you go specific?
I think about the bigger picture. So
Okay.
if my goal is over the course of this month, so again, chunking it out. So maybe my milestone is I want to have decreased fat, increased muscle mass by X by the end of this quarter. Then I'll chunk it out by month. So what does that mean that I have to do per month? And then per week, so that you're, again, chunking it out, making it smaller, more manageable bite-sized pieces. So if my goal for this week is then you're not just looking at the numbers on the scale, you're looking at what do I need to do to get there. So I need to lift weights. I'm going to use your example 4 times a week for 60 minutes. So I'm going to actually plot that out. And then, yes, I'm going to be deliberate about, okay, this is leg day, this is push day, this is pull day, and then I'm going to do a full body, just as an example.
Sure.
Right. So, and you actually schedule that time for yourself. And that's a commitment then that you make, coming back to that third pillar of commitment. You're committing to yourself, or, if you have a goal with your team, you can do the same thing in a corporate setting where you understand what your goals are, and then you work with your team on your quarterly goals. Many companies now are going into a quarterly planning cycle, and they don't plan more than that, just that quarter, because they know things are going to shift. And so they want to have the clarity of what has happened to plan out the next quarter. And so by doing that, it's much more manageable, and you can measure your progress as well.
Key point.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. We're just about out of time. Connection.
Oh my goodness, already.
I know, it just like rocks by. Connection, compassion, commitment. I want to make sure I have this right. You call that the
culture of and framework.
The culture of
AND framework.
AND stands for?
It's people and performance or productivity. Results, whatever word you want to put there, but it's about looking at it from, it starts with the people, and then the results happen.
So the people is the connection. You have to have some compassion when you're dealing with people, obviously,
and for yourself,
totally. And then there comes the commitment. Wrote it down.
Love it.
How do we connect with you? Let's say this is resonating. They have goals. They're not achieving them. They're not even sure. Somebody's in a leadership role. What's the best way to find you?
My website, denisekrumlian.com. So DeniseKrumlian.com. And you can contact me. I have a contact page. I can set up a discovery call. I also do strategy sessions. So everything we're talking about here, helping to get clarity and then figure out your action plan forward.
You're so easy to talk to. And I feel like we've been in session with this. But so much insight in a very short period of time. Again, that's your secret weapon. You really, I use this term laser because I have friends that will talk and they'll be like, laser. And my friends do it to the friends too. There's a few that just don't know. You get right to it, but you don't skip anything. You just get to the point, and it's understandable.
Thank you
really
so
good
much.
Stuff. Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for being here, and we'll get together next time, okay?
Yes. See you soon.
We'll be right back.
Hey, welcome to Everything Outdoors. Can I help you find anything?
Hey, yeah. Can you point us to the camping gear?
Sure, aisle 2.
Snowboarding? Just bought a new Nissan Pathfinder. It's got intelligent 4x4, and we want to hit the backcountry.
Aisle 18.
And the boats?
Are you sure you can do all this?
Up to 6,000 pounds towing, we're good to go. Oh, where's the scuba gear?
Return to rugged in the all-new 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. Available intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Towing capability varies by configuration. See Nissan.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.